Check this out, one slipper pattern, two different styles. I'm Little John Yarns, and today we're going to be making these reversible slippers. They're created using the Camel Stitch, which essentially is just a weirdly positioned half double crochet. Don't worry, I'll teach you how to do it. But make sure you go over to littlejohnyarns.com and grab the free written pattern to follow along to this tutorial. Okay, let's hop into the pattern breakdown. First, we'll work on the toe area. Then we'll move on to the bottom of the slipper and the heel. The materials for this pattern are 2 skeins of Lion Brand Woolspun yarn, which is a bulky yarn, and a 6.5mm crochet hook. As usual, I'll leave you with timestamps for easy pattern navigation. Before you begin, I want to apologize for the superhero band-aid on my finger. I was opening up one of my son's toys with a box cutter and cut my finger. Alright, so let's start this project. We're going to begin with a magic ring. If you don't know how to do a magic ring, you can chain 5 and slip stitch to join. Chain 1. Your chain 1 will not count as a stitch throughout this pattern. We are going to place 12 half double crochets into the ring. So that's 1 and 2. Pause your video here and I'll meet you at the completion of your 12 half double crochets. We've made it back around and you can pull your center tight. Usually we would slip stitch to join, but here we're not. We're going to be working in continuous rounds. You're going to place 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So right here, go into the top and place 2 half double crochets into that very next stitch. One and 2. So you won't lose your count of rounds when you're crocheting. Make sure you mark that very first half double crochet. Since we did 2, 1, 2, mark this one as the beginning of your row. I'll put a little stitch marker there. And next, we're just going to place 2 half double crochets in each stitch around. So 2 half double crochets into the next. 1 and 2. Pause your video here. Continue placing 2 half double crochets in each stitch around until you make it back to the stitch marker. Pause your video here. We've made it back around, and at the end of this row you should have a total of 24 stitches. So let's remove your stitch marker. We are completely done with increases and we're only going to put in 1 stitch in each section. Alright, now we're going to be working into the 3rd loop of a half double crochet. To do that, I'll show you. On the top, you'll notice a V. You'll see your front loop, your 2nd loop, and when you turn your work, you'll notice a 3rd loop right back here. And that's the loop that we're going to be working into for your half double crochet. So I'll show you how to do that. Yarn over. Here's your front 2 loops. Turn your work, 3rd loop. Work into that one, half double crochet. Don't forget to place your stitch marker in so you know exactly where the beginning and the end of your row is. Let me show you the 3rd loop, half double crochet again. So yarn over. You'll notice your top 2 loops. Turn your work. So loop 1, 2, turn your work, loop 3. Half double crochet. I'll show you again. Yarn over. Loop 1, 2, turn your work, loop 3. Yarn over. Loop 1, 2, turn your work, loop 3. And I'll show you one last time. Yarn over, loop 1, 2, turn your work, loop 3. Alright, you're just going to continue this pattern sequence until it reaches your ankle. So you can try on your slipper, and if it reaches the top of your ankle, that's where you stop. If you're looking for a more specific slipper size, you can go to my blog and follow along to the step-by-step instructions. So pause your view here, continue with your rows until it reaches your ankle. I'll show you a picture so you know exactly what to do. So I'll meet you at the very end of this section. Okay, we completed those additional rows and this is what it looks like. And if you're working from the opposite side, it looks like this on the other side. but I find it easy to work from this side. All right, so let's get back into this pattern. For this next row, let me remove my stitch marker. We're going to put, here we go, one individual stitch, working into that third back loop like before, all the way around, but leaving the last 5 stitches unworked. Let me put my stitch marker in. So once again, we're just going to do every every stitch working into the third loop. 1, 2, 3. All the way around, and you're going to leave the last 5 stitches unworked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So continue placing one stitch all the way around until you make it this point, and I will meet you there. Okay, we made it to the very end of our row, and as you can see, we have 5 stitches left unworked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For our next row, we're going to chain 1 and turn your work. We're going to continue with our third loop half double crochet, but this time your third loop is in front of your work. As you can see, here's your V, stitch 1, 2, the third loop is right here. I'll show you again. Here's your V, loop 1, loop 2, the third V is in the front. So let's do our third loop half double crochet in the front. That's a mouthful. So 1, 2 loops in the front this time. Half double crochet, yarn over, counter loops, 1, 2, third loops in the front. Show you one more time. Yarn over, loop 1, loop 2, third loops in the front. Continue with this stitch all the way across until you make it with your stitch marker, and I'll meet you there. So pause your video. We made it to the stitch marker, and we'll do that last stitch together. You can probably get rid of your stitch marker from here on out. You won't need it. You'll be able to distinguish the end of your rows. All right, for your next part of your pattern repeat, chain 1, turn your work. This one's going to be super easy. We're just going to place 1 double crochet into each one of your stitches all the way across. Simple as that. Not double crochet, half double crochet in each one of your stitches all the way across. So pause your video here, continue placing half double crochets to the end of this row, and I'll meet you at the other side. We've made it to the very end of the row, and do not forget to put in your last stitch. A lot of people forget this. So place your last half double crochet in. Okay, the last 2 rows is going to be a pattern repeat. The next row is going to be a third loop half double crochet into the front, followed by a row of half double crochets until you reach the back of your heel. So if you want the exact size of the slipper, you can go over to my blog and I'll have all the instructions there. But otherwise, continue doing these last 2 rows until you meet the end of your heel. I'll leave a picture at the after the screen so you know exactly what to do. We completed our additional rows, and this is what it looks like. And now it's time to sew the heel shut. This is the point where you decide which is going to be the front of your work, the outside of your work. Since I enjoy this texture, this one is going to be the outside of my work. So I'm going to turn it inside out so I can sew it closed. Some other people might enjoy this texture to be the outside of your work. As you can see, it has cute little rings that go around the slipper. But now I'm just going to crochet my slippers closed. Here's my active loop. I'm just going to insert my needle, my hook, into that very first stitch. I'm having trouble. Pick up that active loop and pull through. I consider that my first slip stitch. So go into the front stitch, the back matching stitch, slip stitch loosely, because if you slip stitch too tightly, it'll pucker your work. Going through the front stitch, back stitch, slip stitch loosely. Front stitch, back stitch, slip stitch loosely. All right, continue doing that all the way down to the other end till it's completely closed, and I'll meet you at that side. So pause your video here. I made it to the very end of my work and I fastened off my slipper, and just turn your slipper back to the correct side. All right, I'm going to show you what these look like on and all completed. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out my other crochet tutorials like these crochet slipper boots. Okay guys, I'll see you all on the very next video.